guys, and welcome to the Middlesbrough vs Sunderland match preview. So Sunderland do go away from home to the Riverside tomorrow night. And Monday night, of course, it is on Sky. Unfortunately, it's going to be another one of those where I am at work, so I will be able to watch it at work, but the match review to that game won't be until the day after. But it is going to be a really, really tough game. Arguably, or maybe, one of the toughest so far this season. You probably could say that about Norwich, and we battered them, to be fair. And we only just come away with nothing against Norwich, didn't we? But we dominated that game. Now, the reason I say it'll be one of the toughest against Middlesbrough, because if you see their start to the season, it doesn't look great because of where they are in the table. But I think it is slightly unfair because if you have a look at the teams they've played against, the opposition and the level, the ilk of team they've come up against, it hasn't been a favourable start to the season for them. So if you have a look, they opened the season with a game against West Brom, who expected to be up there. Away from home against QPR, that is not an easy game. Then you've got Sheffield United, you have Stoke, Reading, who are up there, who've been excellent so far this season. They only picked up their first win of the season against Swansea at the Riverside, a 2-1 win there, and they went down to 10 men that day, Swansea, given it was late on. Then Watford, who again, they're expected to pretty much win the league, they got beat 2-1 last time out. None of these teams have been battered, do you know what I mean? But they have come away with plenty of defeats, and they find themselves currently towards the latter stages of the table in 22nd. So it isn't great, but you do need to kind of think, that they have been going up against some of the better sides in the league. So now is probably a good time to play them, in the sense that the morale might be a little bit down, the sort of happiness in the camp might be a little bit disgruntled given that the results that have been given or that they've been coming out with. But again, it's not going to be an easy game. They have some very good players. They've got former Sunderland players as well. They have Watmore, who generally, comes off the bench. You've got McNair, who I think was excellent for us in the latter stages of our season when we did get relegated to League One, to the third tier of English football. So we know them very well, but you've got like Crooks as well, who's been excellent so far, made a good start to the season with a couple of goals, a couple of assists as well. They've recently brought in Matt Clark, good centre-back, a centre-back that I've rated for a long time now, really good player, and they play the back three relatively similar to us as well. So it's going to be a difficult game, regardless of how it looks, in terms of results in games and how the table looks. It's very easy to just say, the third from bottom, the crap, it's very easy to do that. They're not. They're a good, solid attacking side, and it's going to be difficult away from home. And a lot of people, they say, is it a derby, isn't it a derby? Everyone has a different opinion. For me, I've just never classed Middlesbrough as a derby. It's only ever been the Mags, and that is it for me. I know Middlesbrough is slightly close, but that's as far as it goes for me. Maybe a rival, because that's just the way it's been built up, a bit of a rivalry. But other than that, I don't see it as a derby. I know a lot of other people do. I just don't. But it is going to be a very, very difficult game. But I am going to go into my preferred starting 11 for this one. And as you can see, yet again, I have gone unchanged. Because I just think when you're taking a team like Rotherham, who at the time were flying, they were unbeaten, we batter them 3-0. Why would you change that? Do you know what I mean? We've got Pato in goal, Sirkin, Danny Barton, 09, and I want to give some special praise to 09, not just because I love the man, obviously, which is very well documented, but to come in the situation he did. Everyone was loving Bollard. Bollard looked absolutely amazing, and 09 has come in, and for the millionth time, he's proven to be such a good, versatile utility player. And not only that, he's very clearly such a better centre-back than he is, or a defender at least. He's a better defender than he is a central midfielder. I think he does have his uses at times in midfield. He always presses really well. But other than that, at times he becomes a bit of a headless chicken in the middle and maybe doesn't contribute as much on the ball as he does off it. But as a defender, he's been absolutely excellent. He's put in a good couple of man of match performances in recent times, and he looks absolutely incredible. If you agree with me, let us know in the comments down below. But now, of course, across midfield, Jack Clark, again, he's just improving by the game. Absolutely phenomenal last time out. And tracking back, I know, he got himself a couple of assists and a goal, an incredible goal at that, in the previous game. But you need to give him credit defensively again as well, because that lad, you wouldn't expect him on paper to be able to just track back and defend the way he does. But his intelligence in terms of his positioning and tracking back has improved so much, and I can't appreciate that much more because, attacking players, sometimes they might get away with it because they haven't tracked back, or they're not defending because they're doing the job at the other end. But he really is putting a hell of a shift in, game out when he's tracking back, so you have to appreciate that. Gooch on the right side as well, who's really coming into his own, improving even more. Evans and Neil in the middle. Evans is proving his worth. Neil, I'd like to see maybe a little bit more from. But I think, we know the quality that Neil can have, and he absolutely deserves to be in there. Pritchard, I think he is kind of the only one in there at the minute. As much as I love the lad, and I know he's got that quality about him, there's a little bit of inconsistency, which you do get with players anyway, but it's the only one in there where I think maybe, I wouldn't change it up because, of course, we won 3-0. I wouldn't do that. but he's probably the only one in that last game that maybe give a sort of 6 out of 10 performance when everyone else was at least a 7. Do you know what I mean? Because he can go missing a little bit, or that several misplaced passes, but he's probably one of those talented players we've got on the squad or in the team. You keep him in, don't you? Particularly if we're winning, as I say. And of course, Ross Stewart and Ellis Sims up top. Ellis Sims, again, it's another one, even when we're not playing particularly well, he still has his uses, and we still come away with 3-0 win. If maybe Pritchard upped his game a little bit, Neil and Sims in that game against Rotherham, it could have been a 4-5-6-0 game. That we could have been that dangerous. But I think we all need to be at it again, given the quality of Middlesbrough. It is not going to be an easy game whatsoever, but that is the team I would go with, totally unchanged. I'd be excited to see some come off the bench. If Mishu maybe comes on, Diallo I think should get a run out as well, potentially. Amongst others, you never know, Bennett might come on. It'd be very interesting to see. But that is the team I'll go with, completely unchanged. Do you agree with me? Would you remain unchanged, or are you someone who you think you might want to freshen it up a little bit, despite the positive run of results, or at least the previous game anyway? Let me know in the comments down below. But now to the score predictions. I'm pretty sure there's only been one game so far this season that I've predicted wrong. Of course, score lines I've got wrong most times. But I've kind of got the win, lose or draw generally correct. I think there's one, maybe two I've got wrong. But for this time, it's so difficult. I can just see it in the headlines now. I don't know. I can go with my heart on my head. My heart is telling me it's going to be a Sunderland draw, or at least it's going to be a draw in general, so it'll be a Middlesbrough draw as well. But my head is telling me, it's all bigged up as Middlesbrough haven't played brilliantly. It's going to be bigged up as this derby, which for me isn't in my head. They haven't won in a while in the bottom 3, and I think it's going to be a Sunderland defeat, and I think it is going to be a Middlesbrough 2-1 victory on the night, which again, my heart says draw, my head says defeat, but I'm going to go with my head for this one, and I hope I am wrong, of course, but I just feel like they're going to be all at it. They've had a really difficult string of games, as I've mentioned, and I think they'll be thinking, right, okay, finally, we're not playing someone who isn't expected to be in the sort of top 6, or at least expected, you know what I mean? So they're going to go all out. It's on Sky, which usually doesn't favour us particularly. We shall see. I would take a draw quite happily. I really would. Of course, I'd love a win, but I would take a draw. But at the moment, I'm going to go with my head and go with a Middlesbrough 2-1 win. I think Crooks will get a goal, and maybe even McNair as well. Something from a set piece, something stupid like that. I think Ellis Sims will get one in sort of consolation. So I'm going to go for a 2-1, an annoying and a frustrating 2-1 victory to Middlesbrough, but I'm trying to be a little bit realistic here. If I went for a Sunderland win every single time, it would be a little bit biased as much as I want to. But there we go, guys. That is my preview to the game. Of course, let me know in the comments down below. What do you think the score is going to be? Let us know. It's always very interesting to check out all the comments. But that'll be it, guys. If you've enjoyed, hit the like button for me. It'd be massively, massively appreciated. And if you're new to the channel, or you're someone who watches very regularly but haven't quite clicked the subscribe button yet, please click subscribe. It really helps out so much. But for now, take care and stay jamming.